Well, believe it or not, there was life for me before Duke. I actually hold 2 undergraduate degrees, one in engineering and one in Bible theology. And when I was doing my undergrad in Bible theology, I was a part of a group of those who were going to go on to seminary or going to go into ministry. And what we would do from time to time is we would put a bunch of verses in a hat, or a professor would put a bunch of verses in a hat, and we would draw it out, read it, and have to come up with a sermon like that. And I tell you that story because this week I had a very heavy administrative week, and I was focused on this and that, and I Googled the verses. They were Luke 15 that were read today, but I Googled Luke 5 and developed a whole sermon on Luke 5 for you all. And I found out that we were doing 15 at the 8 o'clock service, as Pastor Stewart read it, and then I got up and had to preach on that. So I am being very honest and transparent with you. If I sound like I'm flubbering through this sermon, it's because I'm kind of making it up as I really go along. A lot of people say, they love me preaching without notes, and they're like, you just speak from your heart and just share with us. Well, there is preparation for what I do, and today you're going to see how I just let it fly from the heart with very little preparation. But I was able to make some slides, so hopefully this will go a little better than what it did in the 8 o'clock service. But here at Lakeview, this Advent season, we are looking at the life of Scrooge from the Christmas Carol. We've been watching the videos on Thursdays, the movies on Thursdays in the chapel, because there are lots and lots of movies that have been made on this Dickens Christmas Carol, the story that he wrote so long ago. And what we've been doing is looking at the life of Scrooge. And this sermon series is entitled The Redemption of Scrooge. And so we're looking at Scrooge's life, and we're focusing on Marley and all the ghosts that come to visit Scrooge. All of the ghosts and Marley, they're all coming to him, trying to get him to change. Marley comes to him with all of the weights on him and all of the burdens on him based on his life and his life choices. He's experiencing the consequences of his life choices of not putting others first and focusing on money, wealth, and power and prestige. And he comes to Ebenezer and says, Ebenezer, you need to change. Don't be like me. You don't want to face these consequences. Change now before it's too late. And so all of the ghosts are trying to get Scrooge to change his way of being, to not focus on money, power, and prestige, instead of focusing on others, loving others, serving others, and embracing the Christmas season. And so we've been looking at the Marley and the ghost of Christmas past, and today we look at the ghost of Christmas present. And I'm sure we all have our favorite Christmas carol that we love to watch. I'll be honest. I've kind of stopped watching the Christmas carols. I focus on the Christmas Story. You're going to shoot your eye out, the Red Ryder BB gun one, and John Wayne. Don't ask me. The reason I focus on John Wayne movies is I grew up when the USA Channel or TNT would play John Wayne movies back to back to back. And I don't know about you, but when family would get together, that's what we watched. But we all have, we've seen a lot of these movies, and we have probably our favorite ghosts. And so we have some images of the ghosts here of Christmas Present, one of the old black and white movies. You get a big, jolly fellow full of laughter, bellowing voice, and we've got him there. Pastor Stewart's favorite Christmas carol is the Muppets Christmas Carol, and there's that big jolly guy, kind of ditzy, And then just this past Thursday, we watched Scrooged and the Ghost of Christmas Present. And Scrooge, there's this fairy, again, a very jolly person, kind of ditzy as well, coming and coming to Scrooge. And so this is the Ghost of Christmas Present. They're coming and they're coming to Scrooge, and what the Ghost of Christmas Present is doing is putting a mirror up to Scrooge's current life. Scrooge, this is what your life is now. And this is the impact, this is the influence that you're having on others here right now. And so they're able to go and see all of these different people who are present in Scrooge's life. See his the co-worker, he sees his nephew. The nephew is a prominent character there. And a lot of the stories that they go see the nephew, he's holding a party, and everybody there at the party is making fun of Scrooge, talking about how corrupt he is and how he only focuses on money and he's mean, and they have a lot of really mean things to say about Scrooge, and he's confronted with what people really truly think of him. Not as he's a respected person, but he's this corrupt person that they really don't like. And his nephew sticks up for him, and that affects Scrooge greatly. He goes and sees Tiny Tim. He doesn't really have a very familiarity with Tiny Tim, but he's able to see the house in which Tiny Tim lives in and how he's not able to have the proper food that he would need. Tiny Tim has a medical condition, and he needs food and support and warmth and clothing, and Scrooge is able to see that because he's paying Tiny Tim's dad just very little, the dad's not able to provide the needs for Tiny Tim, and so he's seeing the results of how he's making a child suffer because of his greed and his corruption. These ghosts of Christmas Present are allowing Scrooge to see who he really is. And this image, this mirror that the ghost of Christmas Present allows Scrooge to see is not pretty. It's the hard truth. And the truth that Scrooge sees, that the ghost of Christmas Present points out to Scrooge, is that Scrooge is a lost soul. He's bent inwards, focused on his greed, focused on his things, focused on all the wrong things. He's bent inwards. He's corrupt. He's lost. And this is the focus of the ghost of Christmas Present, to show him and us just how lost Scrooge is. Today's verses speak of the lost, the Good Shepherd verses of Luke 15, not Luke 5. This is the beginning of a series of parables that Jesus has. The lost sheep, the lost coin, and then one of our favorite, most familiar lost stories, the prodigal son. And we see through these parables, we see the heart of God. We see who God really values, who God really pursues, who God is really focused on. It's not those of us who are here in the pew. It's not those of us who have accepted Christ, who have this wonderful relationship with Christ. The ones of us who are growing in our faith and our knowledge, are trying to be better at loving God and others with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, and our neighbor as ourselves. God is very glad he died so that we can have a relationship with him, but that is not where God's heart is. God's heart and all his working is towards those who are lost, who don't know him. And I love this parable that he says, this shepherd familiar, and we're not familiar with shepherding because we don't interact with it a lot, but in the ancient times, you had to interact with shepherds all the time. A lot of people had sheep and cows. When I lived in Bulgaria, it was really cool to to experience this. We had shepherds who would get sheep, but they also mostly got cows because a lot of people had cows. That's how they made the milk and then the cheeses and the yogurt. The Bulgarian yogurt is the best. If there's any Greek here, I'm sorry, your yogurt is not as good as the Bulgarian yogurt. It's just awesome. But everybody, lots of people had cows, and so the shepherd would come in the morning and get all the cows, open up the gates, and the cows would go out, and then in the evening, guess what? The cows came home. And the shepherd would bring all the cows back, and they would make their way into their own homes all on their own, and the shepherd would just kind of there protecting and a little bit guiding. And so this ancient culture was very familiar with shepherding, and he says, we're familiar with this, right? Doesn't the good shepherd, he will leave the 99, they'll be safe, they'll be secure, and he goes out and he pursues, and he'll go to any end to find this lost sheep, and when he finds this sheep, he'll bring it back, and there's such great rejoicing. And then the lost coin is the same thing. The woman searches, turns her house all over, and when she finds that lost coin, there's a celebration. And then the prodigal son story, right? When the kid, the son that goes out and lives a loose life and is eating with the pigs, and he comes home and his dad is there rejoicing and celebrating, has a big party for that son that was lost, that it's now found. We see in this that God's focus is on the lost, not on the found. And all too often we can get focused on those who are found. And we can just be satisfied and I have a word in my head that I can't, it's not coming out, it's on the tip of my tongue. We are complacent, and we are just happy with those around us who are found just like us. And that's a very natural thing. We gravitate towards like-minded people, right? I mean, I wish there were more Duke fans here, and I would gravitate towards you. But we like to be around those who have the same values and have the same thoughts and have the same lifestyle, don't we? We're comfortable with that. And I see in the church today, especially in the American churches, that's what we're very comfortable with. We're very comfortable with people who go to church, and that's who we want to associate with. When my mom meets somebody, she always tells me whether they go to church or not. And then she makes friends with only those who go to church, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that just shows you that that's our focus. We often gravitate towards those who think and act and believe the same way that we do. And when we do that too often, when we do that often enough, well, we find ourselves in these situations that we find ourselves in today. And the situation we find ourselves in, our church is closing left and right. Less and less people are coming to church. We talked about this in our admin meeting this week. We see lower attendance. And I bet you, we talk to you, your children who you raised in church, most of them might not even have anything to do with church today. My generation, I'm right after the baby boomers, Generation X, we left church a long time ago. People my generation are spiritual but not religious. We have no religious affiliation. It's growing. Less and less people are coming to church. And part of the reason is we who are found, we who are the 99, well, we're happy just being part of the 99. When we lost out, our hearts are not beating to the rhythm that God and Jesus speak to, whose heart is for the lost. This Advent season is a great time to find the lost in our lives. It's a time to invite people back to church. And this is a really good time to invite people to church because you know most Christians are C&E Christians. Did you know that? Christmas and Easter Christians. They only come to church on Christmas Eve and Easter. This is a wonderful time. People are kind of geared up. They're waiting to be invited to church. And so I challenge you to invite those who in your life that are the Scrooges in your life. Those who are lost. Invite them to church. And I'm going to get on this soapbox because I was able to do it last service because I was just shooting from the hip, right? And this is my soapbox. Don't invite someone to church who's already going to church. That's too easy. That's too safe. Would you believe that when people find out I'm a pastor, they invite me to their church? That happens to me all the time. Does it happen to you? I meant to ask you, does it happen to you? All the time. And I just want to look at them and give them a Gibbs slap. You all know the Gibbs slap, right? I'm like, what are you doing? I work on Sundays. I just told you I can't go to your church. That's what we do as Christians. We find the safe people, don't we? Because that's who we're often around. Don't invite someone who's already going to church to come to your church. We do need the attendance and the giving, yeah, but that's not what we're called to do as followers of Christ. We're called to eat with, associate with the sinners, those who don't know Christ. So hear this from your pastor this third Sunday in Advent. This Christmas season, go to those parties that serve the eggnog, where the people are sinning and sinning boldly. Hang out with them. Associate with them. Laugh with them. Eat with them. Fellowship with them. And then invite them who don't know Christ, who don't have a church home. Invite them to the Christmas Eve service. Invite them to a TNT. Invite them to an Amazing Grace. Invite them to be a part of the choir. Invite them to be a part of what we are doing here in this church. This Advent season, may we identify those Scrooges in our life. Those whose life is far from a Christ-like life. Find those, identify those who are lost. Invite them, bring them into church. This Advent season, let us be the good shepherd and seek the lost. And as they come in and they become a part of our church, wouldn't that be awesome to have a celebration, a party every Sunday? To see new people here who were once lost but are now found. Let us be that good shepherd and invite those Scrooges to know the peace and the joy that only comes in a relationship with God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.